conventional storytelling using non-linear narratives, hybrid genres, and experimental styles. Slide number 5, please. Slide number 5. Right now it's visible.
This one, sir? Hello?
Yes. Previous again. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. So these are the narratives, hybrid genres, and experimental styles to reflect a fast changing complex India. So right now we must analyze some important examples regarding this point. So let me share some powerful examples. Uh, first example is Arundhati Roy. Previous slide, please. Slide number 6. Atul, slide number 6. Previous slide. Sir, previous slide, please.
Which slide, sir? Hello?
6 number slide.
This one?
No. Previous.
Yeah. Okay. Now you can continue, sir.
Okay. I continue. From the slide number 6 examples, some pivotal or important examples regarding this first question. So, one of the prominent writer in this regard, Arundhati Roy, in her prominent work, The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, present a fragmented poetic narrative that gives voices to the marginalized from Kashmir to Old Delhi. It's a novel where prose and politics merge. Another prominent writer in this regard, Jeet Thail in Narcopolis, takes us into Bombay's drug-less alleys using a stream of consciousness style, hallucinatory and hunting, blurring the line between the real and surreal. Next author, Meena Kandaswamy, in When I Hit You, offers a fierce feminist voice through a bold personal narrative. She explores the horrors of intimate partner violence and the right to reclaim one's voice. Another, Perumal Murugan, through the One Part Woman. This is the work of Perumal Murugan. From rural Tamil Nadu, he examined caste pressure, fertile expectations, and personal dignity with stark emotional realism. Another, Samit Basu, fuses science fiction, fantasy, and satire in novels like The Chosen Spirits, whose dystopian features reflects our digital and political anxieties. Last example, Hasda Shekhar with the Adivasi Will Not Dance. So share raw and honest portrayal of tribal life in Jharkhand, giving space to voice we rarely hear in Indian English fiction. So to summarize, the contemporary Indian writers are not only current in time, but deeply current in thought. They reflect who we are and we are headed and who is being left behind. So the next slide is fictions. Some of the fictions are there of these writers. So slide number 8, tradition versus modernity in fiction. Yes, tradition versus modernity in fiction. So next point, one of the most fascinating aspects of contemporary Indian fiction in English is the way writers balance tradition with modernity. India, as we know, in a country deeply rooted in mythology, oral tradition, religious symbolism, and a long historical past. So, yet it is also a nation rapidly modernizing technologically, socially, and ideologically. Contemporary writers are responding to this duality by reimagining old stories through new lenses. Yes. They don't discard tradition, but they reinterpret it. They revisit epics and legends, retell historical narratives, and questions inherited identities. Using tools of modern literary fiction, multiple perspectives, feminist reading, and speculative twist and psychological depth. So these are the tradition versus modernity in fiction. We can find some many examples here. Yes. Okay. So next slide, please. Amish Tripathi. Let's explore some notable examples up there. Here, Amish Tripathi, through the Shiva trilogy, transformed the god Shiva into a relatable, flawed, human-like hero. His version of mythology is not divine and distant, but human, heroic, and morally complex. Using simple yet powerful prose, Amish blends ancient myth with action, politics, and philosophical inquiry, making mythology accessible and relevant to today's readers. So, this is the most prominent example of tradition versus modernity, which is used mostly author in their work to deal with our point, contemporary fiction writers in English. So another example is the Chitra Banerjee Devkuruni. Mr. Atul, can you make the slide next slide?
Next. Just farm outside, there is some network issue, so that's why slide can't change it.
Okay. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You are audible to you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So the next author and important their work, Chitra Banerjee Devkuruni in the Palace of Illusion, retells the Mahabharata from the point of view of Draupadi. This shift is revolutionary. It brings a silenced voice to the center, weaving myth and feminism into one narrative. She shows us how age-old stories can evolve when seen through the eyes of women. Ashwini Sanghi in the Krishna Key writes a fast-paced thriller that combines mythology, historical facts, and conspiracy fiction. His work invites reader to engage with India's ancient wisdom, but in the style of modern-day suspense novel, very similar to Dan Brown's approach, but deeply Indian in spirit. So next example, Gitanjali colon Girl Made of Gold is another fine example. Set in a Tamil temple town, it's both a crime mystery and a cultural commentary. She blends ritual, folklore, and gender politics to ask tough questions about power equity and patriarchy in traditional Indian society. Lastly, Anuja Chandramouli brings character like Shakti and Yama into fantasy fiction with feminist and philosophical undertones, giving divine figures a contemporary makeover. So these writers show us that tradition isn't static; it is a living source of stories. Through a reinterpretation, they honor the past while engaging boldly with the present, helping readers understand that the old and the new are not opposites, but co-travelers in the journey of Indian storytelling. So we can find the next slide fictions. I put some images with this regard. So our next question is that representation and who gets to speak. So how our Indian author represent the society, our Indian culture, our political culture, and speak through the various genres, particularly in fiction. One of the most powerful shifts in contemporary Indian fiction in English is the explosion of diverse voices, voices that had for long remained unheard, ignored, and misrepresented. So historically, much of Indian English literature was dominated by urban, upper caste, elite perspectives, often centered around metropolitan experiences and middle class concerns. So, but in today's literary landscape, we are witnessing something extraordinary, a decentralization of narrative authority. Writers from marginalized communities like Dalit tribals women, LGBTQ plus and voices from the Northeast and rural India are finally claiming the space they were once denied. So these writers are not just speaking for themselves, they are reshaping the boundaries of Indian literature, insisting that the everyday struggle, silence, resilience of the oppressed must be acknowledged, recorded, and read. So these are the examples we can find in slide number 13 or 14. So let's look at some important examples. Meena Kandasamy, through the novel When I Hit You, brings us face to face with the brutal reality of marital rape and gender violence, all from a Dalit feminist perspective. Her writing is not just storytelling, it is a resistance. Her voice is fiery, unapologetic, and necessary. She breaks the silence surrounding abuse, turning pain into power. So, one of the powerful example of who gets to speak in this regard. So, Shekhar, another author, Shekhar, a medical doctor from the Santhia tribal community in Jharkhand, offers us a rare insight into tribal life through works like The Adivasi Will Not Dance. His stories are raw, real, deeply rooted into lived experience. He exposed how class, region, and culture neglect interest and how tribal communities are often silenced or romanticized in mainstream narratives. So another author, Perumal Murugan, brings rural Tamil Nadu to life. In one part, women, he explores the social pressure on women and men regarding fertility, caste-based shame, and tradition. The backlash he received for questioning orthodoxy speaks volumes about the risks writers from marginalized backgrounds still face when they challenge entrenched system. Another example, Pama Faustina, in her autobiographical work Karupu, tells the story of Dalit Christian women navigating both caste discrimination and gender bias. Originally written in Tamil and translated into English, her work has become a cornerstone of Dalit feminist literature. She speaks not just to be heard, but to be understood. Another example is Tarin Kire from Nagaland, offers a rare and moving account of Naga identity, oral tradition, and the trauma of militarization or marginalization. Her novels like A Terrible Matriarchy center the lives of Naga women, often forgetting even in Indian discourse. Anxiety in Prelude to a Right uses multiple viewpoints to show how fear, class, privilege, and communal prejudice silently shape the minds of people in a small South Indian town. It is a chilling yet beautiful return examination of the tension bubbling under everyday interactions. So, what these writers prove to is simple but profound. Representation matters when people write their own stories. We get truth, texture, and authenticity. Today's fiction is no longer uniform. It is layered, complex, and more inclusive than ever before. So, contemporary Indian literature is not just but telling stories, it's about redistributing narrative power, validating the marginalized, and creating space for every voice to be heard, loud, clear, and unafraid. So next slide in fictions, we can find some images are there. So next slide, experiment in form and genre. So how our Indian writer experiments tactically, creatively in in English, particularly fiction, as we have seen so far, contemporary Indian fiction in English is not just rich in content, it is also daring in form. Today's writers are not only asking what should we write about, but also how should we tell the story and to reflect the plural, complex, and often chaotic reality of modern India. They are breaking free from traditional narrative structures. They are boldly experimenting with form, genre, voice, and language. Fictions that is not only read but felt, heard, and questioned. So next slide, we can find some examples are there. Let's begin with form. Many writers today choose non-linear storytelling, where the narrative doesn't follow a straight path. Instead, it jumps across time, space, and perspective, mirroring the way memory works or how trauma unfolds in layers. So we can find many writers uses various techniques in their respective works. So another example, Jit Thai, for example, his novel Narcopolis is a stunning experiment in long form poetic prose. It opens with a 7-page sentence, a stream of consciousness that drops us right into the hells of Bombay's drug world. The narrative is dreamlike, shifting between hallucinations, memoirs, and metaphysical reflections. It is as much about style as it is about a subject. Then there is Arundhati Roy, who is the minister of utmost happiness, resists liner narrative entirely. It is a fragmented, then polyphonic novel where multiple characters speaks, sometime together, sometime apart. She weaves journalism, personal narrative, poetry, and political critique into one narrative fabric, defining genre categorization. So language is to become a site of experimentation. Writers often use code switching, blending English with Indian language, dialects, and idioms. This isn't just stylistic flair, it is a political and cultural choice. It is say this is how we really speak, think, and live. Writers are also blend genres in ways that are fresh and unexpected. Samit Basu, in books like Chosen Spirit, merge teach dystopia with fantasy satire. His fiction critical digital surveillance, political fear, futuristic inequality, but with humor, imagination, and myth. So Meena Kandasamy, in her works, the Gypsy Goddess takes it even further with metafiction. She interprets her own narration, speaks directly to the reader. It questions the idea of storytelling itself. The novel becomes a space for both narrative and resistance. So we can find many examples are there, just like Amitav Ghosh, whose Gun Island meets climate fiction, folklore, and migration. His bending style allow him to tackle modern crises like environmental collapse through the symbolic and mythical. All of these writers are telling us some important literature must evolve with life. The forms of storytelling must stretch, bend, break to reflect a country like India, where tradition and technology, mythology, and modernity all coexist in one breath. So, such a eminent and innovative writer we have. These formal experiments are not just clever tricks, they are deeply meaningful. They allow fiction to hold complexity, contradiction, and chaos just like the lives we live. So next slide is we can say put some fictions, some pics, how they look, and next slide is local roots, global reach. It's very important question, and this is the last fifth question. So we can define or we can say analyze here. Now we come to an essential question in contemporary Indian literature. Can stories that are deeply local still resonate globally? So, and the answer quite confidently is absolutely yes. Because contemporary Indian fiction in English has shown us that a story rooted in the soil of a small villages or told in the rhythm of a regional dialect can still speak to universal human experiences. In fact, the more authentic and grounded the story is, the more powerful its emotional reach becomes. So we can find dealing with this question some examples. So let's take Jhumpa Lahiri. For example, her stories are often set within Indian immigrant household in America, shaped by Bengali culture and the challenge of assimilation. And eight books like Interpreter of Maladies are read and loved worldwide because they speak of lodging, loneliness, and identity. Emotions that transcend borders. Then we have Arundhati Roy, who is the god of small things. The god of small things is set in the lush backwaters of Kerala. The novel is deeply rooted in the region's caste hierarchies, religious divides, and family dynamics. Yet the pain, love, and betrayal she captures are universally understood. Her storytelling is local in detail, but global in emotional impact. Anuja Chauhan brings something different to the table. In Zoya Factor, this is the prominent novel of Anuja Chauhan. She writes about Indian cricket superstitions and we can celebrity culture, or specific to our national obsession, but the charm, humor, and romance in her writing make it contact with global audiences, providing that popular fiction can travel across culture just as well. So Murugan here, whose works are rooted in rural Tamil Nadu, address themes like caste rigidity, social stigma, and marital pressure. His novel One Part Woman, though local in setting and language, speaks of shame, desire, and emotional survival. So things that readers everywhere can relate to. Finally, there is Amitav Ghosh with the Peace Trilogy. His storytelling spans contains India, China, and Britain, but remains deeply engaged with the Indian colonial experiences. His narrative of trade, migration, and exploitation connect to global conversation about capitalism, history, and identity. So, what do we writers show us? That rootedness is not a limitation, it is a strength. It adds flavor, texture, and authenticity. And in a world increasingly hungry for diverse voices and real stories, Indian fiction offers a window into a unique culture landscape while reflecting universal truth about being human. So, next slide, we can have some pics of their respective novels. So, at the end, we come to our conclusion. As we come to the close of the session, I would like to pause and reflect on the journey we have taken together. Through voices, narrative, and imaginations that shape what we call contemporary Indian fiction in English. So, what we have seen in more than just literary development, it is a cultural and intellectual evolution. Contemporary Indian fiction is not simply entertainment, and it's certainly not just an academic category. It is a living, breathing achieve of our times.
Vaibhav sir, you are not audible. Vaibhav sir, Vaibhav sir, you are muted. Hello, hello.
Yes, yes. Now I am audible.
Yes sir. Yes sir. Now you are audible. Continue.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is our conclusion of whole talk. So above all, contemporary Indian fiction is fearless in critiquing the unjust. It takes on caste, patriarchy, communalism, inequality, and obsession or oppression, not from the safety of distance, but from deep within lived experience. The stories are not neutral, they are charged with urgency and truth. But amidst all this intensity, these writers also explore the reader's thread, the characters, love, loss, longing, identity, freedom, and liberation. This work is deeply human and it touches something universal, even when rooted in a small town, a tribal village, or a we can crowded city street. So, what do we take away from all these? Let us not approach these works merely as literature to be analyzed. Let us read them as testimonies of transformation, as voices that challenge, comfort, and inspire. Let us allow these stories to help us see more clearly, feel more deeply, and engage more honestly, not only with the world around us, but with the world within us. Contemporary Indian fiction in English is a mirror, a map, and a movement. And as readers, critics, or educators, we are fortunate to be part of its unfolding. So, thank you very much to given to give me chance to share some uh, important thoughts regarding contemporary fictional writers in English to your students. Another thanks once again to the organizers to know a series 5.0 and to all of you for your time and presence. I hope this talk sparks more reading, more writing, and above all, more thinking. I also suggest to our students, so this information also important, or this talk also important for nets, not only net set but also academic research. Thank you very much. Over to you, Atul sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sorry, Vaibhao, sir, for the disturbance caused due to network issue. We
Uh,
sincerely thank you for accepting our invitation and sharing your valuable insight with us. Over to you, Alisha.
Thank you very much also, Dr. Joshi sir, to giving me such a chance to interact with your students. Any questions are there?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. I
I request to
request to
every
every
participant,
participant,
if you
if
have
you have
any
any
question
question regarding
regarding this
topic,
topic,
they
you
can
can
feel
feel
free
free
to
to
ask
ask
Dr.
Dr.
Vaibhao.
Vaibhao
Please, sir.
Pimpale, sir.
Hello,
Hello,
students.
student.
Alisha,
Alisha,
Ritu,
Ritu,
are you
are you
there?
there?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If anyone have really question, they can put their question to the chat box. May I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, yes. Ritu Bamre, yes.
I think no one has questions,
Yes.
sir. I would like to continue the session. Thank you so much, sir. Sir has discussed on the topic of voices of now, contemporary Indian fiction writers in English. So thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. We learn a lot from this session. If anyone have any queries, you can unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can just drop your questions to the chat box. Thank you everyone for joining this session, and a special thanks to our convener of this Knowledge Series 5.0, Atul Gavaskar sir, for giving me the wonderful opportunity for hosting today's session and connecting with me. Now, I would like to hand over the session to Miss Alisha Gajbie to vote of thanks. Alisha, are you there?
Good af- yes, I am there. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Alisha Ansaras Gashpiye, MA final year student of PGTD English Department, Gondwana University, Gadchiroli. I am honored to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of our institution, Gondwana University, Gadchiroli. I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to our today's speaker, Dr. Vaibhao Pimpale sir, for sharing the insights and knowledge on the topic. Voices of Now Contemporary Indian Fiction Writers in English. Sir, your presentations were enlightening, though provoking and knowledgeable. I would also like to express my gratitude towards our chairperson of the No Age Series 5.0, Dr. Vivek Joshi, sir, for organizing such a wonderful, effective, and knowledgeable session for us. I would like to express my gratitude to the PGTD's English faculty organizing team of No Age Series 5.0. Dr. Shilpa Athole ma'am, Dr. Vaibhao Masram sir, Dr. Pramod Zavre sir, and Assistant Professor Atul Gavaskar sir for the wonderful arrangements. We all appreciate your hard work and dedication have ensured a seamless and successful session. I would also like to thank all the attendees who have participated in the session. I hope you all have got to learn a lot from this session. Thank you all for being part of this wonderful session. We hope the knowledge learned
Uh,
from this
Thank
session
you.
will stay with us long after we leave this session. Have a great afternoon. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Hello
Dr.
everyone.
Joshi sir, Atul and entire team of postgraduate teaching department of English Gondwana University Gondwana. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir. Hello, one
One
minute,
minute,
sir.
sir.
Vaibhav,
Vaibhav,
sir.
sir.
Yes, yes.
Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone.
I
I
request to
request to
every
every
participant,
participant,
please
please
switch
switch
on
on
their
their
camera
camera
because
because
maybe this is the
maybe this is the
formality, but
formality,
we
but
need
we
this
need this
photograph
photograph
because
this
this
will
will
be
be
memory
memory
for
for
us
us
when
when
we'll
we'll
go
go
back
back
to
to
the
the
series
series
5.0.
5.0.
Then
Then
we
we
will
will
have
have
this
this
photograph
photograph
as
as
a
a memory.
memory.
So
So
now
now
I'm
I
going
am
to
going to
click.
click.
I
I
request
request
to
to
every
every
participants,
participants,
please
please
switch
switch
on
on
their
their
camera.
camera.
Ready, Vaibhav, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much,
I
sir.
sir.
also took the screenshot.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, all the participants, and also